Myself, Dr. Bhalerao Sachin. I am a reader in the Department of Medicine in the Motiwala Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Nasik. Our today's discussion will be revolving around one of the most deadliest infection the human beings have been encountering since ages. And it becomes a hallmark for the medical fraternity to learn about this infectious disease. Today we will be going with some orientation, with some specific objectives. So as our topic of discussion today is tuberculosis, okay? Tuberculosis, right, we have been learning from our childhood. The objectives that are being designed for this session are to know the natural course of tuberculosis, to orient about the host bacterium interaction in the tuberculosis infection. Dear student, this is the most important phase of understanding the genesis of tuberculosis. Third is to develop the clinical skills in order to identify the tuberculosis patient in the masses. It's a need of time. The fourth is to know or to gather the information about the recent trends in the tuberculosis management and diagnosis. Let us start, dear students. In order to understand the tuberculosis, okay, we have to be like an empty cup. I know it's a very serious infection. You could see over here, this is a microscopic presentation of our tuberculosis bacilli. Over here, we are seeing this some red lines, linear lines. In our microbiology, these linear lines are being referred as a rod shape. So this bacilli is a rod-shaped bacilli. And most important characteristics of this bacilli, we should remember our whole life that these are aerobics. Let's move ahead. Tuberculosis, as we go with our introduction, tuberculosis is one of the oldest disease the man has known. Now, it is the oldest disease, oldest to that respect, like pre-hominids. Now, these pre-hominids, okay, these are the living entities who are resembling the human beings. And these pre-hominids were being identified in the African continents. So with that ages, this tubercular bacilli is infecting the living organisms. And till now it is being infecting, and the mortality is at the rise, especially in the Southeast Asian region. So it is a responsibilities on the medicos to identify this tubercular bacilli, to know this tubercular bacilli, to know the methodology of infection. It is our primary importance. Now, Mycobacterium tuberculosis it's one of the major cause of death worldwide. Now this disease is caused by a bacteria. Please note down. This disease is caused by a bacteria, okay, of the Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex. And the primary target of this particular bacterium infection is the lung parenchyma. Okay, so lungs, although the other organs are involved. So it's a multi-system disorder. Okay. Now if you go with the background, of the tuberculosis strains, the tuberculosis strain which are drug susceptible, they are always curable. Okay, in all the cases. The the transmission usually takes place through the airborne spread of the droplet nuclei. Please note down these important keywords: airborne spread. Airborne, okay, airborne spread of the droplet nuclei, which is being produced by the patients with the infected pulmonary tuberculosis. Okay, so it is always in the air. We will breathe in the air. Air is having oxygen. We breathe in the oxygen, and the oxygen is required by all the living creatures on this planet. So we go with the etiological understanding. The etiological understanding, Mycobacteria belongs to the family of Mycobacteriaceae. You should know this. It belongs to the family of Mycobacteriaceae. And Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex is the most common and important agent of the human disease. So the complex, please note down the complex. The complex, it includes Mycobacterium bovis. Now Mycobacterium bovis, this is the bovine tuberculosis. It causes the bovine tuberculosis. Next is Mycobacterium caprinae, which is having a similarity with the bovis. Next in the complex is Mycobacterium africanum, which is found in the regions, specified regions, cases of West, Central and East Africa. Now it is not being common in our Southeast Asian region. Then Mycobacterium microti is another group of in the complex. Then Mycobacterium pinnipidae. Mycobacterium pinnipidae, a bacillus infecting the seals. Now why I am telling this? Mycobacterium pinnipidae, bacillus infecting the seals and sea lions, because we human beings, those who are residing in this particular area of isolation, that is the southern hemisphere, okay, the seal is their staple diet. So a person could get infected by this Mycobacterium pinnipidae, okay, and Mycobacterium caneti. But in our geographical region, in Southeast Asia, okay, we are being infected by the Mycobacterium tubercular bacilli. Let us move ahead. So the microbiology part, as we know, these are the rod-shaped, non-sporin and aerobics. Aerobics, please remember, it is having its significance in pathology and medicine. So tubercular bacilli, they are gram-stained, they stain, they always stain. This is the picture. This is the actual microscopic picture of the tubercular bacilli. Okay, we are seeing this rod-shaped bacilli. So we have to know this Mycobacterium cell wall. These are important molecules. Okay, we have to just remember Mycobacterium cell wall, which is having an arabinogalactone and peptidoglycan. These are the lipids. Okay, these structures confers. Why we have to know this arabinogalactone and peptidoglycan? Okay, because these structures, they have a very low permeability of the cell wall. Due to this presence of these lipids, okay, the cell wall becomes very low permeable. To whom? To the antibiotics. So due to the existence of this particular proteins, the lipids, okay, the cell wall is being resistance to this antibiotics. One thing. So it's important for us to know. Okay. Now there is also another particular lipids known as the lipoarabinomannan. Okay, and this particular lipid is involved in the pathogenic host bacterium interaction, which facilitates the survival of the Mycobacterium tuberculosis within the macrophages. Now listen, dear students, we are going into the molecular chemistry, the molecular dynamics of the tubercular bacilli. Why at this moment these particular words, the lipids, the proteins, they are necessary? Because we in a homeopathic therapeutics, we in a homeopathic therapeutical science, okay, we are able to block this particular lipids. We are able to penetrate this particular lipids, etc. In the due course of the session, I will tell you how it will happen. So, we go with this particular another environmental factors that influence the tuberculosis infection. Okay. Now, these environmental factors, most commonest is the industrialized countries. We are seeing the incidences of this tubercular bacilli, okay, in the industrialized countries. Okay. Why? Because there is lots of immigration of the population from one place to the other place. The second important factor, okay, is about the crowding of the industrialized, these are the effects of the industrialized society. Crowding, immigration, okay, then infection with the HIV, Now HIV, it is said, HIV infection, that is a human immunodeficiency virus, and the tubercular bacilli, they both are brothers. They like to stay together. And one platform for their stay is the immune system that is becoming compromised. Immune system, it becomes compromised. Okay. So if the immune system is becoming compromised, the tubercular bacilli, okay, it puts up its dragon heads. It is same with the HIV also. Okay, so we are coming with the other risk factors like that of an industrialized countries, the immigration, then the crowding of the population, HIV. Third factor is the social problems like the poverty. Now how poverty is related? Poverty is related with many folds in the society. It leads towards the nutritional imbalances in our system, and immunological system requires a proper nutrition for its good functioning. If that particular nutritional update is not with that system, the immune system, the cellular immune system, the humoral immune system, the innate immune systems, all they are being fallen down. Okay, so please remember this particular. Then the drug abuse, etc. So let us go with the very basics of tuberculosis. Our tuberculosis study will be based in three important segments. One important segment is from exposure to infection. First segment of study. Second important segment of study is from infection to the establishment of the disease. Third is about the pathogenicity. In this pathogenicity, we will be learning about the host bacterial interaction okay, so on and so forth. Now let us try to understand that the tuberculosis infection, if I want to study the tuberculosis infection, I will be studying from these important guidelines. That is, from exposure to the infection. The second part, from infection to the establishment of a disease, and the pathogenicity of a disease, because they are the tripods. They are the tripods of understanding this infection. If we are very clear with this tripod, okay, now tripod is being used to make stable. If a camera is there, camera is always being set on the tripod. Okay, so why it is set on a tripod? Because it will not shake. So our understanding of this tuberculosis is being based on these tripods. So our cognition, okay, is being stable about this tuberculosis understanding. Let us move ahead in understanding of this. So from exposure to infection, it's very simple to understand. It is not a very big rocket science. Okay, now I am reading a tuberculosis, I am studying a tuberculosis, oh my god, okay, it is very difficult no, it is not a difficult. It is just a simple mathematics. It is just a simple math. Okay, it is a logic of understanding. So, mycobacterial tuberculosis is commonly being transmitted from person to person. From person to person, how? When from a person with infectious pulmonary tuberculosis to the others, if two persons are standing over here, okay, me and one volunteer over here, okay, I am infected with tuberculosis bacilli, but another person is not infected with tuberculosis bacilli, then how this particular bacilli, it will come out from my body and it will transfer into the other person. There has to be some connection, and that particular connection is this particular droplet nuclei. These droplet nuclei. Okay. Now these droplet nuclei, they are very, very tiny nuclei. Very tiny. These droplet nuclei, they have a specific diameter. They have a very specific diameter. Okay, for your information. They have a very specific diameter. Some will measure 15 microns, someone will measure 10 microns, someone will measure 5 microns. They are with this diameter. Okay. Now why I should know these diameters? Why I should know this droplet nuclei size? Because if the diameter is very large, if diameter is very big, like 15 microns in diameter or 10 microns in diameter, this particular droplet nuclei, there are high chances that this droplet nuclei will get trapped. They will get trapped. Now the droplet nuclei, when it will come out from the infectious patient. If I am an infectious person, okay, whenever I am speaking, whenever I speak, whenever I cough, okay, or whenever I sneeze, this droplet nuclei, it will come out. Even now I am speaking, okay, the droplet nuclei are coming. Now it is being said there are more than 3,000 droplet nuclei comes out through the oral cavity, through the mouth when a person is coughing or speaking. Now only one droplet nuclei, okay, is being traveling in this environment and going to an uninfected person. Person B, uninfected. Person A, infected. Okay. So this particular infected person is coughing, sneezing, speaking. The droplet nuclei came out, okay, to the person B, and I am inhaling this particular aerosol. I am inhaling this aerosol. I inhaled, okay, but it depends on the size. If that particular aerosol, the nuclei size is very big, it will get trapped in my nostrils, because nostrils, they have a mechanical barriers. Or if the droplet nuclei size diameter is small, it will get traverse through the oropharynx. It might traverse into the lower respiratory tract. Okay? And if the droplet nuclei size is very, very small, 5 microns or less, it will traverse down into the lung functional unit. That is the alveolus, the functional unit of the lungs. Okay? But our human body is having various defense systems. Mechanical defense barriers are there, chemical defense barriers are there, okay, to combat this droplet nuclei. Now this droplet nuclei is nothing but it's a vehicle for the tubercular bacilli. So this tubercular bacilli, okay, is being sitting on this vehicle. That tubercular bacilli is being transmitted, getting entry into that particular uninfected person, some of the droplet nuclei will get trapped, but if the droplet nucleus size is very small, it will go down below into the pulmonary functional unit, that is the alveolus. Okay, but we remember that there is some ciliary mechanisms are there. Ciliary defense system is there, which are moving against the gravity, Okay, so this droplet nuclei of a smaller size, they will be pushed up. We don't want, they will pushed up. The droplet nuclei are pushed up, okay, trying to remove this particular infected droplet nuclei. Okay, so these are the systems that have been taking place. Okay, we are the body, what is the dynamic of this exposure to the infection? It means, okay, the dynamic is that the bacilli is in the environment, and that particular bacilli is in the environment. Now that bacilli wants to enter into the human body. Okay, now that particular entry into the human body is very difficult. In your initial years of medicine, okay, in your first year, second year, we are learning about the physiology and anatomy and biochemistry, which says of the various barriers the human body is having. We will not go into the details of it due to the constraints of times. Okay, so these droplet nuclei we were discussing about the various sizes in it. Okay, they will be penetrating down. That is the gist of this slide. Okay. Now, through the droplet nuclei, it is entering. The second mode of its entry, okay, it's through the skin. It is through the skin. Okay, the incidents are less. Okay, but it is through the skin or through the placenta. It is being mentioned in the literature. Okay, the transmission might take place because we are having the skin tuberculosis. We are having the cases of the skin tuberculosis that are there. Okay, so but these are the uncommon. The probability. What is the dynamic? The two important words comes up in this dynamics. These are the intimacy and the duration. Intimacy and the duration of contact to infected person. Intimacy. Intimacy is an English dictionary word. Intimacy means closeness. Okay, closeness. In a family, we are very, very close with our family members. We are talking of physically. Okay, that degree of closeness. One right example. Okay, is the local trains. In an early morning hours. Okay, local trains are so crowded. We are very, very close to the other person. Okay, so that is the intimacy of the contact. If a person is sneezing, even if a person is doing, or even if a person sneezes or cough, okay, or speaks, okay, then the droplet nuclei comes out, and I am very next to that person who might be infected. So that is the intimacy of the contact, and it depends on the duration. To what duration I am there with that person. Okay, from Karjat going to Mumbai CST, okay, how much hours is required? 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours I am very much intimate with that person, very close to that person. So in this 2.5 hours, that person may talk, or I may talk, etc. So this droplet nuclei, from the droplet nuclei, etc., I may inhale it. Okay, so that's the intimacy and the duration of contact with the infected person. Or the patient is ill with tuberculosis, and I'm doing a nursing care. I am not infected, but I am doing a nursing care of that infected person. So my duty of nursing care is about 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day. I am in contact with that person. I am handling all that particular individual. Okay, so that's the duration of contact. So it also matters. So these two important words, please remember in our dynamics of tuberculosis exposure to infection. It is the intimacy and the duration of contact. Go to the next slide. So most of the infectious patient, they have a cavitary pulmonary disease. I will explain to you the cavitary. Okay, cavity is an English word. It's a cavity. Okay, cavitary pulmonary disease. Patient with the sputum smear negative or the culture positive tuberculosis are less infectious. We'll come down in the next slides about this explanation. Okay. So these are the important words we should remember at this moment. Also, along with the intimacy and the duration, is the crowding. Trains are more crowding, and that too in a poorly ventilated environment. Crowding in a poorly ventilated rooms is one of the most important factors in the transmission of the tubercular bacilli. Here we are dealing with the transmission. We are just dealing with the transmission. We have not entered into the body right now. Okay, so it's a transmission. Now, in short, in a nutshell of this particular from exposure to infection, the risk of acquiring the Mycobacterium tuberculosis infection is determined mainly by the exogenous factors. So please remember these exogenous factors, crowd, etc., etc. Now we go to the next important step in understanding. It is from infection to a disease. We are going with some very important segments. The initial segment, like the human body was exposed to the tubercular bacilli, the droplet nuclei got inside with the tubercular bacilli. Okay, then the infection has started. Okay, now once the infection has been triggered, then there will be an establishment of a disease. Exposure, infection, and disease. Remember, exposure, infection, and disease. So we are now entering into the biochemistry part of this particular discussion on tuberculosis. We are discussing about the internal medicine. We are discussing about the principles that have been governing the infection of a tuberculosis. Please remember this. Always remember. Always write the keywords. Okay, over here it is in bold. You could just write the keywords. It will be very helpful for you in remembering. So the risk of developing a disease after being infected, it depends largely on the endogenous factors. I mean, that particular organism has got inside. Okay, now the disease has to merge out. But when and how it will merge out? It will merge only with some internal factors. These internal factors which are being referred as an endogenous factors. That is the environment of the human body, inside internal environment. Various factors, genetic factors are there, immunological factors are there, dietic factors are there, nutritional updates of their systems are there. Okay, so the endogenous factors, and topmost is the innate immunologic and the non-immunological defenses. Please remember this: innate immunologic and non-immunologic defenses and the level of the function of the cell-mediated immunity. So, what comes in a nutshell of this slide for the establishment of an infection is the patency and the functional integrity of the cell-mediated immunity. This particular slide gives us a view of